Hi, Jason. It's Mariah.
AEW had one last Dynamite before Double or Nothing this Sunday in Las Vegas. Tonight was the ultimate test, though, for one man. Tonight was the ultimate test for the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. A lot of people call Bryan Danielson maybe one of the best in-ring performers of all time, one of the best technical wrestlers that ever lived. We've seen him have legendary matches across multiple promotions. Tonight, though, he was in there with Satnam Singh, a man who up until tonight had never before had a singles match in an AEW ring. He had one singles match in Ring of Honor, and that don't count. So his first singles match, and it is in the main event of the go-home episode of Dynamite. Why? Because Sanjay Dutt accepted the bounty that the Young Bucks had placed on the head of Bryan Danielson on Collision this past weekend. And so the objective tonight wasn't so much to beat this man, the objective was to take him out. What I was very curious, though, to see is what kind of match we could get out of this 7'4" man who has never before had a singles match in an AEW ring. And if anybody was going to be able to pull something out of this guy, it would be Bryan Danielson. And I can honestly tell you that the match that they had tonight was not terrible. They told a David versus Goliath story. I thought that Satnam Singh, for the spots that he was supposed to do, he did fine. He was the giant who was in there beating this man's ass. Bryan was the underdog trying to fight his way back from underneath. They were having a perfectly acceptable match against each other until the big disqualification finish, because it wasn't about the match. It was about the angle that came after the match, which was the Elite beating down Bryan Danielson, who had no help because Darby Allin had been banned from the building. FTR was not there. He was all by himself. On his birthday, no less. Happy birthday, Bryan Danielson, 43 years old. So the big angle was Darby Allin, who was banned from the building, ultimately did make it into the building, because of course he did. You knew he was going to. But we had the sight of a car pulling up to the arena at the end of the show, and out comes Darby Allin carrying, I swear to you, I thought it was a machine gun. I thought it was a machine gun or a rocket launcher. It was a flamethrower, and guess who was driving the vehicle? Tony Khan. Gives him a little fist bump as Darby heads into the arena. So Tony Khan is back, and Tony Khan drives this man and his flamethrower into his television show so that he could come and he could save the day for Bryan Danielson. And that is how they went off the air, with the Elite being beaten back, Danielson and Darby standing tall, and the flamethrower to give them momentum, to give Team AEW momentum heading into the pay-per-view on Sunday. What they wanted to do, their objective with this main event, was to put the anarchy in the arena and give you just a little taste of what you could expect and all the mayhem and all the chaos that's coming on Sunday when all these men are going to go in the ring or all over the arena and kill each other, which is basically all that match is. So I actually thought the main event and the closing angle were very effective. Okay, that's one of the better things I can say about this show tonight. It's a weird thing because the first half of the show I thought was a fucking bore. Seriously, I mean, for a show that is supposed to get you excited for the pay-per-view this weekend, the first half of this show didn't do it for me. I thought the first half of this show was very boring. And then we hit the Swerve Strickland segment, you know, our AEW World Champion, in the middle of the show here. And from what they did at the end of that segment on, it's like the second half of the show was, in a lot of ways for me, like a totally different show. This was a show where the second half was a hell of a lot better than the first half. And it was actually pretty solid stuff. This was not the strongest go-home show or anything like that. If it had kept going the way that it was going in the first half, it would have been an all-time loser of a go-home show. But I actually thought they redeemed themselves with some of the segments that came in the second half. And look, it was one of these AEW shows where there's so many different things going on. And then you have all that chaos there with that finish they were doing at the very end. Was it enough to get people interested in spending $50 on this pay-per-view this weekend? I don't know. I don't know if it was. Now, I'm interested in some of the matches on the card coming up on Sunday. There are some matches, like the Swerve and Christian match, like the Mercedes and Willow match. Anything Will Ospreay does, I'm always, interested in that. You look at the card, it's a pretty solid card on Sunday. But the interest level for what is traditionally one of the bigger AEW shows of the year, it just doesn't have that same feel that some of the past Double or Nothings have had. So I'm hoping, just based on what I'm seeing on paper here, the matches are there. The potential is there for them to hit this out of the park, as they do very often with their pay-per-views. But was this a show that was going to get people super interested in this, card on Sunday? I don't know. We're going to find out, because I put a poll up on Twitter. I put a little twist on it, and I'm very interested to see what the results of this poll are going to be. Because the poll was, did this show get you excited for Double or Nothing? And the last I took a look at it, the results already were very interesting. So when we get to the end of the review, we'll take a look at where things stand on that front. But we did have an angle with Swerve and Christian where the champion actually did not get left laying for a change. 3 weeks in a row, he got left laying, and he finally got one over on the challenger. And then we had an angle with Malakai Black and Adam Copeland that harkened back to the days of the Brood. Little bit of history there with Edge on this show. So we're going to get into all of this. Again, it was a mixed bag, but I did think that they finished stronger than they opened with, if that makes sense. So like I said, it was like the first half and the second half, very different opinions on that. But this is your AEW Dynamite review for Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. I am the Solomonster. Like, subscribe, super chats are open. If you want to send one in, if you have a question, you could drop that. I will be reading all of the messages that you send. The super chat segment later. 400 likes on this video is the goal for our Be the Booker segment. If we hit 400, it will activate Be the Booker automatically, and we will do that a little bit later on in the stream. If not, then we won't. Very simple. And I'm already seeing updates from people that the poll is very close. It's a very evenly divided poll so far over on Twitter. Dynamite opened with the AEW International Champion Roderick Strong teaming with Trent Beretta against Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay, one-time opponents. They had that great match at Forbidden Door a couple of years ago. Now they were tag team partners. So basically fusing two of the matches on the pay-per-view this Sunday together, because we are getting Cassidy and Beretta. We're getting Ospreay challenging Roddy for the international title. Don Callis sat in on commentary for this one. He said Cassidy checks all the boxes that you would want to check to become a member of the Callis family. They're really laying it on here. They want you to really, really think that he's actually interested in bringing Orange Cassidy into the fold. Sure. Late in the match, Cassidy dropped Beretta with a DDT, followed up with another on Roddy. Cassidy covered strong. Beretta, though, pushed Ospreay into them to break up the cover. Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, they bickered with Bryce Remsburg, which allowed Callis to stand up from the announce desk, and he goes over and he grabs the leg of Orange Cassidy. Hey, shout out to KD, becoming a channel member. What's going on, KD? What's happening, man? I see your green box there, matching my my green hoodie here. The green light over my shoulder. Feeling green. Tony Khan better be feeling green. He wants people to buy this pay-per-view on Sunday. He's hoping that it's a green night for him in Vegas on Sunday. So Callis gets up from the announce desk and he grabs Cassidy's foot to prevent Roddy from hitting him with the End of Heartache finish. Cassidy ends up hitting the Stun Dog Millionaire on Roddy instead. Then Ospreay followed up with an Os Cutter. Strong grabbed the referee while Taven and Bennett ran in. Ospreay cleared the two of them from the ring and then hit them with a flip dive out to the floor. But then as Ospreay stands up, he's in the aisleway, he's on the ramp. As Ospreay stands up, he gets mowed down from behind by Wardlow, who, by the way, has a ponytail again. He got a little ponytail in the back there. Maybe now he can regain some of those powers that he lost. Ever since he had the ponytail cut off by Samoa Joe, it hasn't been the same. Maybe he can dig back some of the good old days of Wardlow. So anyway, he mowed down Cassidy, and Cassidy was out. Or not Cassidy, but Ospreay. Roddy was holding the referee's leg in the ring. If you're wondering, where's the referee in all this? Looked like Roddy had him by the ankle, so he was distracting the referee. And Ospreay wasn't the legal man anyway, so wouldn't have mattered. In the ring, Strong avoided an orange punch and hit his End of Heartache backbreaker on Orange Cassidy, and he pinned him to win the match for the heels. After the match, Taven and Bennett, they held Ospreay while Strong hit him with the international belt. Ospreay came up bleeding from the forehead, and Strong yelled at him and then hit him with the backbreaker and left him laying. It's a good opener to put some heat on the heels going into the show on Sunday, their respective singles matches. I already had Will Ospreay walking out on Sunday with the international title. Now it's a no-brainer as far as what the finish of that match is going to be. I mean, for it to be anything else would be ridiculous. And Cassidy took the pin. Now, you would think Orange Cassidy, as much as he is protected, him taking the pin here in this match would typically, I would say, mean good things and good fortunes for him on the pay-per-view. But I still think Callis and Beretta are pulling a swerve. And I think that we're going to get the Tatanka Luger angle from many years ago when Tatanka joined the $1 Million Corporation. I think we're getting a new age version of that here on Sunday. Backstage, the Young Bucks were with security guards, and they were handing them pages with Darby Allin's photo on them, saying that he was banned from the building tonight, so Darby is not allowed in. After security walked off, Sanjay Dutt showed up. He said that Satnam Singh would destroy Bryan Danielson. Matt said, it's cool if he beats Danielson, but it would be even better if he hurts Danielson. So implying that it was more important for him to do damage than to actually win the match. And Sanjay said, hey, as long as the money is in the envelope, it's all that matters. So Excalibur on commentary said that Darby is in town, even though he is banned from the arena, he's around. So again, you had to know how this was going to go. Any wrestling fan watching this show had to know how that was going to turn out. Minus the flamethrower. We had the Bang Bang Gang. I guess Bullet Club Gold is dead. I was still trying to keep Bullet Club Gold alive, but for whatever reason, they have ditched that name. I don't know why. So they are the Bang Bang Gang. And now they have a wagon. They have a wagon that they push around with them now because they have so many fucking titles. 9 belts. So they have a wagon now to push their gold around. And they come down to the ring. Excalibur stated the obvious, which is that the AEW Trios titles, the Ring of Honor 6-man titles have been unified. So he's not sure why they're carrying around all this excess gold. Jay White is in the ring with the guns. And he starts to run down Pac, who was left laying last week. White said that Pac made a series of mistakes in recent weeks, sticking his nose in their business where it doesn't belong. There was a fan in the crowd during this promo, because it was so quiet in the building, during this promo as he was speaking, you could hear this one guy in the crowd loudly shouting, "Who wrote this shit?" Everybody could hear it. So Pac then appeared on the big screen, said that you boys have wound me up a little bit, but 3-on-1, that doesn't sound fair. So he wanted to introduce us to his amigos. And the lights in the arena went out, and then they came on, and we had each member of Death Triangle. Rey Fenix is back. Penta was back. Pac walking through the other tunnel. So Death Triangle is reunited. They hit the ring, a big brawl breaks out. And the Bang Bang Gang, they get such a stupid name. What? Who thought that was a good name? It's ridiculous. I'm still gonna call them Bullet Club Gold. Fuck this. Bullet Club Gold retreats, along with all of their titles. Pac gets on the microphone and formally issues the challenge for Double or Nothing to a match for the unified trios titles. Well, it's good to see Rey Fenix back for now. Hopefully he can stay healthy. I was hoping that we would get a singles match. And honestly, I think that's the match that makes the most sense. If you want to prolong this, give us a match that you put these two in a match on pay-per-view. They're going to deliver. You do Jay White one-on-one with Pac. Give Pac a win. And then you can build to a trios match. You could do Pac and Phoenix and Penta challenging for the trios titles later on. We're going right into the trios match. And by the way, this is not, at this point in the show, this is not even made official as a title match. We would find out later on in the back, the Guns cut a promo and said that you can't just ask for a title match, you have to earn one. So first we have a match on Collision this Saturday where it's going to be the Guns taking on the Lucha Bros. And if the Lucha Bros win, then the match on Sunday is for the trios titles, which of course they will be. But as of this moment, this is not actually a title match. Then it was a 3-way match for a shot at the FTW title. And Chris Jericho at Double or Nothing. Jericho was on commentary for this with Big Bill standing behind him. It was Hook, it was Katsuyori Shibata, and it was the Bounty Hunter, Brian Keith. They went to commercial 30 seconds into this match. I thought I was watching Raw. I had 3 hours of this on Monday. I forgot for a second. I said, wait a minute, are we still doing this? Oh, yeah, that's right. It's Dynamite. This whole thing, and they both do this, where the match begins, and within 30 seconds, 60 seconds, boom, they're going to a commercial. I don't understand, because it never used to be that way. It's all in the formatting of the show. Like, you have certain commercial breaks you have to take, and I just wish they did a better job of formatting around them so that you didn't have the same formula of, okay, first 30 seconds in, first 60 seconds in, you're just starting to build momentum into this match, and boom, let's go to a commercial. It's fucking annoying. It never used to be that way. I don't know why it's like in every single week, they have their formula. They got to stick to it. Both companies, they do it, and it's annoying as fuck. And I just wish they would be able to do a better job of just formatting around it where, okay, you want to take one in the middle. Take a break in the middle of the match. You have a little reset. You come back. But it's like the bell rings, the match starts, and within 30 seconds, you're already in a commercial break. So Keith, skipping ahead here, he delivered a double underhook powerbomb on Hook. Hook connected with a T-bone on Shibata as Keith was briefly trapped in red rum in the ropes. Keith, though, escaped with an uppercut headbutt. Keith connected on a Diamond Dust. Shibata, though, ran in with a PK. Did a fireman's carry neckbreaker until a figure 4 was locked on by Shibata. And as Shibata had the hold applied, Hook came up from behind Bryan Keith, and he sank in red rum. And at that point, Bryan Keith begins tapping out while he is trapped both in red rum and the figure 4 leg lock. He begins tapping out. Referee calls for the bell, and Rick Knox declares that both Hook and Shibata are co-winners of this match. Now, they just did a co-winner finish in a triple threat match on NXT last night. Wesley, Joe Coffey beat Josh Briggs. They just did this finish on television 24 hours ago. And it wasn't great then, and it sure as hell isn't great now either. But yet we get them on back-to-back nights. The crowd was not overly enthusiastic about this finish either. And then they started chanting, for these two, let them fight. Jericho, I mentioned he was sitting at ringside on commentary. Jericho stands up, and Jericho takes the microphone, and he says that this just makes his job more difficult at Double or Nothing, and he was stumbling over his words as he was trying to explain that this is now going to be the first ever, FTW, he claims stands for the world. And Taz has been trying to explain to him, no, that's not what it stands for. But he says this is going to be the first ever For the World rules match on Sunday at Double or Nothing. So I guess we are supposed to believe that Jericho just assumed that this was going to end up being a triple threat match. This part just puzzled me here. Because you would think that Jericho would not want this to be a three-way, right? He would play it up like, well, what does this mean? We don't have a clear winner here. I guess that means we have no number one contender. But he didn't. He immediately sprouted up from the announce desk, and he said, well, gee golly, I guess that we're just going to have this triple threat match coming up on Sunday. Meanwhile, Tony Schiavone, as soon as he said it, so it just felt to me like he jumped the gun here, but as soon as he made mention of that, you hear Tony Schiavone on commentary, Tony contexted me. Tony contexted me, and it is official. I told Jericho before he stood up, this is what he said. Tony contexted me, and I happened to tell Jericho right before he stood up and took the microphone. This was so fucking awful. This was so lame. I don't know who fucked up or what happened here, but it was so goofy the way this came off. Like he jumped the gun on the announcement and they were doing damage control and trying to explain, Tony contexted and, I slipped him a note right before he took the microphone. This is so lame. I could not possibly care any less about any of this stuff. I really don't. You have certain programs, you have certain people on the show that you find interesting. You want to see where they go. You want to see this match or that match. I don't care about any of this. I don't. I don't see how it's benefiting Hook in any meaningful way. So now we're going to get a triple threat. And if anything, this worries me now because I thought, okay, we've had Jericho and Hook now twice. Hook won the first one. Jericho won the second one. We're going to get a third match now with Double or Nothing. Hook can take the belt back and we could all move on here because there really is no need to drag this out into a fourth match. But now they've gone and they've added Shibata to this thing, which means that Shibata is probably in there to take the loss. Jericho, my guess would be, is potentially now going to end up pinning Shibata, which means he holds on to the belt, and this thing continues on into another month. So that worries me, and I'm hoping that's not what's going to happen here, but that sure as hell what it feels like to me, and I just can't bring myself to care about any of this. And I don't even necessarily hate the Learning Tree character. I think that if Jericho is going to portray a character on TV, him being the oblivious guy who's going out there with this insincere smile on his face, right? It's easy heat. I think that it's at least mildly entertaining if he's going to portray, frankly, any character on TV. This is the best version of him that he could be doing right now. But I just can't get excited for this. I don't care. I just don't. I'm waiting for Big Bill. I know he just linked up with them, but I'm already waiting for Big Bill.
Samoa Bro.
And Samoa Bro, too. Throw him in there, too. Just hit him with a fucking boss man slam off the stage and be done with it. And let Big Bill move on. Let's get Big Bill something to do. Jericho, I mean, I don't give a shit. Who cares? This was followed, I should say, by a very good video package, hyping up the TBS title match for Sunday between Mercedes and Willow. They were not on the actual show, but I thought the video was very good. We had Konosuke Takeshita one-on-one with Matt Sydal. Excalibur talked about Sydal teaming with the Blackpool Combat Club at Arena Mexico. That was back in March. He subbed for the injured Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta's been out. He's been having some lingering concussion problems for a while now. So even back in March, he took Wheeler's spot with the BCC at Arena Mexico. So I guess that's the tie-in here. So Takeshita wasted no time connecting with a brainbuster. Sydal countered with a Blue Thunder Bomb countered a Blue Thunder Bomb, I should say, into a Snap Hurricane Rana and a DDT before going up top. Takeshita avoided a dive and hit a spinning Blue Thunder Bomb. And at that point, Don Callis signaled for the end. So Takeshita wound up, decked him with a hard forearm shot, and he got the win. 2 minutes flat. Thanks for coming. After the match, Takeshita acted like he was going to help Sydal up. Instead, he pulled him into a release German suplex, and then he put the boots to him. Jon Moxley's music hits. And so here comes the IWGP champion. He has a microphone, and he gets into the ring, and he never says a word. Instead, he nails Takeshita. He bonks him right in the head. With the microphone, down goes Takeshita, and he left. Moxley leaves through the crowd. That was it. So Moxley punks out Takeshita and leaves him laying. Now, I said in my Double or Nothing predictions, this is not even a title match on Sunday. It's an eliminator match. They're doing an eliminator match on the pay-per-view between Jon Moxley and Konosuke Takeshita. So somehow Will Hobbs was able to go in there on Dynamite. I guess Don Callis, he cashed in a favor. Remember, many weeks ago, we had a main event on Dynamite of Jon Moxley and Powerhouse Hobbs for the IWGP title. That's the match, unfortunately, where Hobbs got hurt. And so he got a title match, no problem. So why doesn't Takeshita get one? Is Callis out of favors to call in? Is that what it is? I mean, where's the logic in that? How come Hobbs can get one and Takeshita has to first win an eliminator match? That's never been explained. But I said coming in, it would be stupid if it's an eliminator match to not have Takeshita get a big win. Earn an eventual title match, but it's a great reason to give him a win because you don't have to worry about putting the title on him if they don't want to put the IWGP belt on him. Well, now, he gets punked out by Moxley on this show. If he doesn't win on Sunday, it's even fucking dumber. So he goes out there, he gets punked out, and he loses in an Eliminator match. That doesn't make any sense. So I have to imagine that Takeshita is going to pick up the win. And they made mention on commentary, it isn't so much that he's winning a match against Jon Moxley if he wins on Sunday. He's winning the right to challenge for the IWGP title, regardless of who the champion is. So I don't know if that means that would be the IWGP match of Forbidden Door. Because you would think, if you're going to have Forbidden Door, you would have Moxley defending the title maybe against a New Japan talent. But I thought they were going to hold off and do Moxley and Shota Umino maybe on that show. They already blew through that a few weeks ago. So maybe the match is going to be Takeshita and Moxley at the next show. But Takeshita, one way or the other, has to walk out on Sunday with the win. Because if he can't win here, that's just ridiculous. The Young Bucks were backstage again. They were handing out flyers saying that Darby Allin was banned. And they walk over to the gorilla position, and they see Swerve Strickland, the AEW World Champion, sitting in their seat. And hey, he's the champ, right? No problem. They claim they don't have a problem with it. Swerve, by the way, he had a Band-Aid over his right eyebrow. Excalibur mentioned on commentary that he had 4 stitches. That was after Nick Wayne smashed that frame photo over his head last week. So, again, they acted like it didn't faze them. Hey, you're the champ. And then they asked him, hey, have you seen this guy? They wanted to know if he had seen Darby Allin around. So Strickland took the flyer. He took the gum out of his mouth. He stuck the gum to the flyer. And then he smirked. And he said, no, haven't seen him. And then he told them to hit his music because he's up next. And sure enough, he was indeed up next. It was the AEW World Champion, Swerve Strickland, one-on-one with Nick Wayne. I'm going to assume they didn't do this match in Washington last week. 2 Washington boys. I'm assuming they didn't do it because they didn't want to take the risk of Nick Wayne being cheered, because he's not supposed to be cheered. So instead, they did the match this week. Wayne played a little bit of cat and mouse early on. Strickland, though, caught up to him, slammed him into the barricade, took his belt off, and literally whipped this kid's ass with it. It was all Swerve until Wayne was able to drive him headfirst into the metal part of the turnbuckle beam. And Strickland went to the floor. He ate a penalty kick from the apron before Wayne tried a moonsault. And Wayne he's so small that Swerve was able to catch him off the moonsault on his shoulder, but then Wayne countered the counter into a DDT on the floor. And that took us into the commercial break. Back from the break, Wayne sent Strickland to the floor. He tried for another moonsault. This time, Strickland was there to meet him and hit a back suplex on the edge of the ring. Swerve connected on a swerve stomp off the apron. Back inside, Wayne dared Strickland to put him away. And then he was able to dodge a top rope swerve stomp, got his boots up. Strickland avoided a house call, or Nick Wayne did rather, into a code red, and or a power bomb into a power slam, code red. Strickland apologized to Wayne for taking his head off before taking his head off. I love the house call. I made this comment a few weeks ago. He was using the swerve stomp as his finish, and ever since he won the title, he's been using the house call. And the house call kick, it looks great. It sounds great. He makes that sound. It just looks like he kicks this fucking kid's head off. It's such a better finish. It just is. It's such a better finish, and it's just not as convoluted as the double stomp. I know there are people who use the double stomp, and the guy just kind of lays there and waits for it. In this case, the guy's on his knees. His back is turned. He doesn't see it coming. The way Swerve sells it is pitch perfect. It's such a better finish. So he picks up the win. I wouldn't call this a total squash because it wasn't. It was a warm-up for Swerve on Sunday, which is really what it needed to be. This did not need to be super competitive, and it wasn't. After the match was over, Killswitch appeared, and he attacked Strickland. Christian Cage and Mother Wayne came down to the ring. There she is. There's Mother Wayne. And so both of them went over to go check on Nick. Strickland was able to fight off Killswitch with a low blow, which left Christian all alone in the ring with Swerve. And at that point, the chase was on. Strickland, after exiting the ring, as he was running around the ring to try to catch up to Christian, he saw Killswitch was still laying there on the floor outside. He gave him a house call kick, and then he kept running. So Christian is headed to the back now, and Swerve followed him to the back. Christian was taking more of a leisurely jog through the backstage area. And so he exits the arena. And out in the parking area, it just so happens that there is someone who looks like a security geek sitting, idling, in a waiting SUV. And Christian reaches in and grabs the guy, looks like he's carjacking him, and he throws him out of the vehicle. So I'm going to assume that the idea is that Christian paid this guy off to basically keep the engine running, with the idea that I may have to flee the building and I want to make sure I have a waiting car. Because otherwise, it's awfully convenient that there was just a guy sitting there idling just in the middle of the parking lot. So Christian throws him out. He gets in the car and he looks out the window at Swerve as Swerve is coming towards him, and he gives him the peace sign, and he goes to drive away, but then he gets cut off because another car cuts him off. I know that feeling. And they show us that in the passenger, or not the passenger seat, in the fucking England, in the driver's seat is Prince Nana, who we have not seen now for a number of weeks, and he's got his coffee. Prince Nana is driving the car. He's sipping his latte. So Christian now has nowhere to go. He's fucked. And here comes Swerve. He pulls Christian out of the car through the window, and Christian is just trying to fight this guy off. Gets thrown into the side of a nearby truck. Christian scurries up to the roof of the SUV, and Swerve follows him, drops him on the roof of the car with a DDT. And Prince Nana then hands Strickland a chair. He tries for a one-man concerto, but Christian was able to get out of there, and he fled to safety. So, message sent. After 3 weeks of the champion being laid out, of being embarrassed, of being beaten up, of having his hair literally pulled out of his head, his friends turned on him, blood was spilled, stitches in his eyebrow, he finally gets a measure of revenge on the challenger here on this show. Finally. Just in time, too. Heading into the pay-per-view. And he'll get the win on Sunday, too. I enjoyed this. This was the best part of the show up to this point. This is the first time where I was like, all right, finally, something I actually enjoyed on this show. And it's good that it involved the champion. You know, you want to give the champion something strong here heading into his first title defense on a pay-per-view, which is what it really is. I mean, he defended the title once on TV, but his first pay-per-view title defense, it's not really being positioned as certainly not the number one story going into this show on Sunday. I still feel like Anarchy in the Arena is going to headline. There's a chance it could be Swerve and Christian, especially if the Elite are going to go over in Anarchy. Maybe they don't want to end on a sour note. I just don't know how you top that. You know, you have a match like that, why would you end with anything else? And so Swerve and Christian may not be closing the show on Sunday, but they needed Swerve to look strong going into the show, and they did, so I enjoyed this. I thought this was good. We had Malakai Black. Keep the momentum going here. We had Malakai Black in a singles match. I will never cease to amaze me to see this man in singles. I'm so used to not seeing him in singles matches. It's nice that he's finally getting ring time in one-on-one situations here. You know how long I've been waiting for this? Now he's going to end up having 2 singles matches in the span of less than a week. That's got to be a record. Malakai Black one-on-one with Kyle O'Reilly. Malakai had Adam Copeland's wedding ring on him as he came to the ring after he jacked it last week. I thought he would have pawned it by now, but apparently he's carrying it around with him. He can get some good coin for it. I don't know why he's holding on to it. If you like kickboxing with your wrestling, this was the match for you. You got a lot of it here because you got 2 guys who know how to kickbox. So they incorporated that into the match. It was certainly different than a lot of the matches that you normally see on this show, and that's not a bad thing. Crowd got behind O'Reilly, who hit a snap German suplex and a rolling elbow for 2. Kyle shot a takedown and got an ankle lock applied. Black, though, stood up into a knee strike. That led to a brainbuster for a close 2 count. Both men got to their feet. They connected on dueling high kicks until Black pump faked the kick. O'Reilly bit, and that allowed Malakai to hit the end. And nighty-night goes Kyle O'Reilly. Malakai gets the pin to pick up the win. After the match was over, Malakai is standing in the middle of the ring, and the lights in the arena turn red. They turn blood red, and they begin to flicker, and you can hear this weird, it's like a weird voice, like a demon voice almost. And then the lights come back on, and then the blood I knew exactly what it was. As soon as I saw Malakai standing right in the middle of the ring, and he wouldn't move, and I saw the red light, I said, we're getting a bloodbath. Because they did this in WWE, during Edge's second run too. It's not like we haven't seen them do the bloodbath gimmick in the last few years. So I knew the bloodbath was coming. I was just hoping it wouldn't be a Kevin Nash WCW moment. Because on 2 different occasions, they did angles, and this was the dying days of WCW. With like the new blood and all that, where they did the bloodbath, or they attempted to do it to Kevin Nash, and both times they basically missed him. It's WCW, so what do you expect? So I was just hoping that their aim was better. And, their aim was good. Their aim was very good. I don't know what they dropped. It was like this thick liquid. It looked like fucking ketchup or something. But they dropped this blood on Malakai Black. And he's slipping and sliding and rolling around. But when he initially went down, go back and look at the replay. It hit him right in the face. The pressure, it was as if someone had a fire hose from above and was hosing him down, but it was blood instead of water coming out of the hose. I wish I had that kind of water pressure in my shower. It hit him right in the face. It looked like it fucking hurt. That did not look like it would have been fun to take. So whatever it was all over the place. And the announcers were complaining that it got all over them. And they hit the target. I'll give them that. Copeland then appears on the big screen. He's walking down a few steps. He's got a suit jacket on. He looked like he was back in the Judgment Day. And he's calling for Malakai's attention. He tells him, be careful what you wish for. See you soon. And he begins to laugh. He begins to laugh maniacally. It's malachi sauce, says Casey. Yes, that's right. Malachi Black. Spaghetti sauce. Maybe it's ragu. They dropped some ragu on this man. Anyway, Excalibur said it looked like a crime scene in the ring. And like the Swerve match, another parallel here, the babyface made to look strong, getting a measure of revenge and getting the upper hand, going into the pay-per-view on Sunday instead of the other way around. I like the match. I can see where it might not be up some people's alley. They might have thought it was boring. It's just not the kind of wrestling they like to see. But these two had a hell of a battle, I thought. I like it when we can get something that's just different than what you're normally used to seeing on the show. And, it's a slower pace, but it really felt like these two were in a battle in there. Now, you could debate whether or not Malakai should have had a competitive match. Swerve, I wouldn't call his match competitive. There were a couple matches on this show. Takeshita was more like a warm-up match. This was a competitive match. So I thought it was good, and I like the bloodbath angle. I like that little throwback, because it fits the story. Malakai's been trying to pull that part of Copeland out. He got it. And like Copeland said, be careful what you wish for. Now they go into the barbed wire cage match on Sunday. We had Timeless Toni Storm and Mariah May. Lovely Mariah May, who you saw there at the beginning of the stream. What's going on, Mariah? Mariah May and Toni Storm against Saraya and Harley Quinn. We had Storm is still wearing Serena Deeb's. Serena Deeb has that dojo flag that she would come out with. And so Toni Storm had it on Collision. She did a little striptease with it. So she had it again here. Taz, I have to say, on commentary, was not happy at all about being doused in whatever, the blood, the sauce, the ketchup, the paint, whatever it was. Like legit, he sounded very upset. And there were actually multiple times during the show here where you could hear someone on commentary audibly sigh. Like, right? There were like 2 or 3 instances of it, and it's hard to tell who it is, but I would bet almost anything it was Taz. He did not sound happy at all. And I don't blame him. If nobody gave him a heads up and he gets that shit all over his suit, I wouldn't be happy about that either. So this was Saraya's first match on TV in over 3 months. Mariah hit a shotgun dropkick on Harley before a spinning side slam. Saraya made the tag and wanted Toni. So Mariah tagged out to Toni, and we had a battle of the former outcasts. Mariah was isolated during the picture-in-picture break. Toni made the hot tag after that, flattened Harley with a headbutt, and a drop toe hold on Saraya, sent her down into her partner, who was in the corner. Mariah came in, wanted dueling superplexes, but instead, Cameron and Saraya, they hit simultaneous sunset bombs for a near fall. Both took way too long to follow up, which allowed Toni and Mariah to lay some kisses on them. See, Tony Khan is going in very hard on the young male demographic. Young. He's going in, let's be honest, it don't matter what age you are. He's going in for the male demographic. He knows what he's doing. So Mariah hit Mayday, Toni hit Storm Zero on Saraya and then on Cameron to get the win. After the match, Toni was about to do another striptease when Serena Deeb appeared, and first she laid out Luther with a chair shot to the back. So down he goes. Mariah got sent outside. That left Serena to level Toni in the head with a high heel shoe. She had a shoe, and she hit her in the head with it. Toni Storm did not take her own advice. Watch for the shoe. She says it every week on this show. She should have watched for the shoe. I thought maybe she was gonna gig and we were gonna have more blood. I mean, she got hit right with the heel part of the shoe, but there was no blood. Instead, Serena took the chair, placed a chair over Toni's body while she was flat on her belly, and then she sat in the chair and applied a half crab while seated. See, I don't know why more people don't do that. That's what I would do. Take a load off, take a seat. Your opponent is trapped under the chair. They can't go anywhere. And then just cinch up on the leg. See, it's smart. So Toni Storm was screaming until referees ran in. They pleaded with Serena to let go. Serena did let go, and she took back her flag. And all I could think here is, poor Serena. She came back after thinking her career might be over. She had these seizures and didn't know what was causing them. Very serious medical issue here. And she was able to fight her way back. And she comes out on television a few weeks ago and she tells the story and nobody cares. Everybody is in love with Toni Storm and Mariah May. And so Serena has not done anything wrong. But clearly here now, they're just leaning into it that she's going to be the heel. In the eyes of the fans, she's going to be the heel going into this match on Sunday because she's trying to take the title away from somebody that the people like. But she hasn't done anything wrong. But yet the people, they just don't care. They took to the wrong person. And I think they're going to have a very good match on Sunday. But the whole dynamic is screwed up now because they tried to get sympathy on Serena Deeb and it just didn't work. People just didn't care. Then we came to the main event. And this is what I was most interested to see. How was this going to turn out? Because we had the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, against the 7'4" Satnam Singh. With exactly one singles match to his name prior to this, and it came in Ring of Honor, so it doesn't count. This was officially his first singles match in an AEW ring. And it's in the main event of Dynamite. But it also happens to be against one of the best wrestlers in the entire world. If you can't have a good match with Bryan Danielson, then you don't belong in the wrestling business. You can go do something else. So I was very curious to see if Bryan could work his magic. Now remember, no FTR, No Darby Allin because he was banned from the building by the EVPs. They went face to nipples, basically. I mean, the size differential between these two was comical. It was David versus Goliath. It's like the first time we saw the Great Khali and Rey Mysterio in the ring together, because you know Vince McMahon loved that. That's basically what this was. So the bell sounds. Danielson fires off some kicks, quickly ate a big boot. Singh delivered a delayed vertical suplex. So far, so good. Danielson goes to the outside. He gets sent into the ring steps. Sanjay Dutt. Poor Sanjay Dutt. I don't know what happened here, but he goes to clear off the announce desk because they're going to do some kind of spot, probably through the announce desk, right? So somebody is going to get put through the table. So he's clearing off the desk, and in the process of doing so, just by clearing it off, the entire table collapsed piece by piece. So the front part came off, the side came off, the whole table collapsed. Like a house of cards. It just imploded. Oops. Guess we're not doing that spot now. You fucked up, boy. I have no idea how that happened. But I was laughing my ass off here. I'm like, what is this table made of? Paper mache? Meanwhile, Danielson has to recalibrate here. So he hits multiple running knees off the apron. He strikes Singh each time with the knee, sending him backwards into the barricade. So now Danielson backs up. He tries to build up a head of steam, and he charges in for a running knee. He gets caught, though, and then he gets chokeslammed onto the apron. So Singh ends up ripping off the top turnbuckle. He wants to, or the pad, he wants to slam Danielson into it. Bryce Remsburg, though, puts a stop to it. Now, with the referee's attention turned, Danielson hits a low blow, which is not a technical wrestling move that you'd normally see Bryan Danielson using, but he hits a low blow, and then the Busaiku knee. But then he tries for another one. He runs into the clutches of Satnam Singh. Danielson kicks his way out. Singh, though, hits a violent overhead chop. Singh wanted another suplex. Danielson ended up on his shoulders instead, and then he delivered the anvil elbows. Ends up getting him down into a label lock, and he gets the hold applied. He's got the crossface applied right in the middle of the ring. He's got this man dead to rights, seemingly. And at that point, Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, they run in for the attack for the disqualification. The announcers point out that it was never about winning the match. It was about trying to hurt Danielson. After the match, Jeff Jarrett tries for a guitar shot. Why am I talking about Jeff Jarrett talking about him and his guitar in the main event of this show? Why am I talking about Jeff Jarrett doing guitar shots on people in the main event of Dynamite going into this pay-per-view? But here we are. So he goes to use the guitar. Danielson ducks. Jarrett stops himself because he almost hits Jay Lethal. Here comes Danielson with a running knee. Jarrett gets out of the way, and he wipes out Jay Lethal. Then he wipes out Jarrett with a knee as well. And Danielson is about to eat a guitar shot after Danielson, Sanjay is, after Danielson picked up the guitar. He's about to smash this guy in the head with it. But he ducks. Satnam Singh is there. He punches through the guitar and just shatters the guitar with one fist. So now everybody puts the boots to Danielson. They play the Young Bucks music, and here come the Bucks, and they have an envelope that has the money in it for Sanjay Dutt, the cash that they promised him. So he took the payoff. Dutt and his crew, they make their leave, and that leaves the Bucks to put the boots to Danielson. They wanted an EVP trigger. At the last second, Danielson ducked, and their knees collided. There's still hope. So Danielson fights back until we hear the coin drop, and out walks the Continental Champion in his nice suit, Kazuchika Okada, who heads down to the ring. But as he's heading down to the ring and Bryan's back is turned, Jack Perry attacks from behind. Okada gets in the ring. He turns him inside out with a Rainmaker. So the Elite, they drag Danielson up the ramp, and Okada pulls off a black tarp that was hiding a table that was down below, right beside where the ramp is, next to the stage, on the floor. And again, we're not talking about a huge drop here. Like, again, you think 20 years ago, those old Raw's War sets, I mean, that was a pretty steep drop. You know, when Mae Young took that powerbomb off the stage from Bubba Ray Dudley, I mean, God bless Mae. I'd shit myself if I had to take that bump, which would be really bad if somebody was trying to powerbomb me and I shit myself. Now it's like 2 feet. It sounds worse than it really is. It's like a 2-foot drop now, but there's a table down below. Right? Down below. So they're preparing to put Danielson through this table. All of a sudden, we cut to the outside of the arena and we see another SUV. Do people not drive sedans anymore? What happened to the sedan? What's wrong with the sedan? Why does everybody need an SUV? You can't even park in a parking lot anymore without being boxed in by 2 SUVs. I fucking hate it. You can't see around these fucking things. It's a total blind spot. So here's another SUV, just for once. I would love to see somebody, like a few weeks ago on Raw. All right, we had Drew McIntyre left the arena, CM Punk pulled up. I think he was in a yellow Camaro. Finally, like a regular car. There you go. I loved it. I was like, great. At least he's not pulling up in a black SUV. Well, we got a black SUV here. And who emerges from the black SUV? Darby Allin, who I think is held together by rubber bands and glue at this point. And Darby Allin steps out of this car, and he has what at first looked like maybe a machine gun, or it looked like one of those, those tank guns. I forgot what they were called. It was almost like a rocket launcher, but not really. From the original RoboCop, when the bad guys got their hands on the military equipment, right? It looked like he had something like that. It turned out not to be that. But then they show us who the driver is of the car, and the driver was Tony Khan. And he fist bumps Darby as Darby heads into the arena. You know, Tony Khan was texting the announcers earlier about match announcements. I hope he wasn't texting and driving. He sent so many text messages during the show. I didn't know he was on the road. So here comes Darby now. The Elite, they don't know what's going on here, right? They're waiting and they're waiting and they're waiting. And so Darby emerges on stage, not with a gun, but he emerges with a flamethrower to chase off the Elite. And they end up sending Nick Jackson, Danielson does. They send Nick Jackson flying off the stage, through the table down below. He fucked up his back too, because they showed later on he had some bloody cuts on his lower back, and he was selling it, like he was, oh, my back, he was selling the pain. Meanwhile, his brother and Okada and Jack Perry, they're all the way back at ringside. They're like where the announcers are. They don't want no part of this flamethrower. So Nick Jackson is getting no assistance. And the show ends with Bryan Danielson and Darby Allin on the ramp celebrating. Darby's got his flamethrower. Bryan is putting his fingers up in the air, getting everybody to do the yes chant. They obviously had a lot of time left, which is weird because they gave them a 5-minute overrun. But it just was like, it wouldn't end. They're just standing there. And it was almost like they were stalling for time. You would think they had time left, before the top of the hour, but they were already in the overrun. It was very strange. So eventually the show just ended. But, let me talk about the match itself. The match itself is almost inconsequential, which is a terrible thing to say because it's the main event of your television show. But it's the go-home show to a pay-per-view, and that really is what it's all about. It was about the angle at the end. It wasn't even about the match. I didn't hate on the match like maybe other people did when the match was first announced because it intrigued me. I saw it as a challenge for Danielson, and I wouldn't be shocked if he's the one who actually requested the match, but they at least had a story to explain it. Going into Anarchy the Arena, they put a bounty on him. Somebody wanted to claim the bounty, and it just so happened to be the biggest guy in the entire company. Like, it's an easy story to understand. What kind of match were they going to have? I was curious. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. But it's not like Satnam Singh went out there with 2 left feet. What he did fine. He didn't have to do much. He had a part to play. I thought he played it perfectly fine. But it was all about the post-match angle, which I thought was strong. I mean, anytime you get somebody out there with a fucking flamethrower, it's like, oh, okay. But they were trying to get over the anarchy in the arena stipulation. And what better way to do that? I mean, you could have had your standard just brawl all over the arena. You could have done that. But they opted to do this instead. We'll see if it's going to sell any more people on this pay-per-view who maybe were not already sold on plunking down $50, to watch it. But they did as good of a job as they could do. Again, Darby being in this match is just ridiculous to me, given that he's obviously not fully 100% yet. But Eddie Kingston went down with an injury, and they evidently felt they didn't have anybody else to take a spot. So they called upon Darby, and now Darby has been called in, and you knew Darby would say yes. Of course he would say yes. I just hope they make it out of there, him and Danielson and these guys. I hope they make it out of there in one piece, Danielson's gotten hurt before, right before Forbidden Door. You don't want to see that. He's trying to get to Wembley and then Wrestle Dream, and then that's going to be it for him as a full-time performer. I don't know how often we're going to see him. Not only, I shouldn't even say I don't know how often we're going to see him. There's no guarantee that we will see him on AEW television after that, because he has said his contract is up even before Wembley. Like, his deal's going to be up. I don't know if it's in July. I don't know if that means early August. But his contract is going to be up, so who knows what he's going to decide to do. He may just want to freelance and just do his own thing for a while. But I would think that if he was going to sign somewhere or stay with one big company, it would be AEW. I think that Tony Khan trusts him. I think Tony Khan obviously respects him and relies on him. Tony Khan has literally admitted that he has told his father, he has told Shad Khan, that if something happened to him, if he got hit by a bus, I think was the analogy, ironically, that he used. Meanwhile, you had this guy on the roster who literally got hit by a fucking bus. But if he ever got hit by a bus, he would want Bryan Danielson to take over and run the company in his place. That's how highly he regards Bryan Danielson. It's hard for me to imagine him leaving the company altogether. But hopefully he doesn't get hurt and he can make it to Wembley. And he can make it to Wrestle Dream, which is in Tacoma, Washington. I know that's an important thing for him. I don't want to see him get hurt and get his brain scrambled on Sunday. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be madness in that match. I'm sure it'll be fun to watch. I can't imagine the Elite take the loss, especially after the angle they did here, where the heels ended up on their back, right? Nick Jackson laid out on his back here going through a table. I already thought coming in it would have been ridiculous to beat the Elite. You're still so early into this angle. You're going to beat the Elite? I mean, are you giving up on the entire story? Wouldn't make sense. If this is going to continue on, you keep them strong and the Elite should go over, which is what I'm expecting on Sunday. So it was a mixed bag of a show. There were things on the show that I liked. There were things on this show that absolutely bored me to tears, and I had no interest in at all. So the best way for me to describe this go-home show, very much a mixed bag. But the question I put to you on Twitter was not, what did you think of Dynamite tonight? I asked you, did this show get you excited for Double or Nothing this Sunday? These are the results so far. 45% of you say yes, thumbs up. This gets you excited for Double or Nothing. 54.7% say no. Thumbs down. Did not get you excited for Double or Nothing. So that's with a little over 1,000 votes in so far. Kind of like this show tonight, right? Very much a mixed bag.
I have one pair of skinny jeans, and I'm going to wear them every week just to piss you off.
Oh, Big Dave is going to wear those skinny jeans just to piss each and every single one of you off. Hey, Barry, thank you for the $35 super chat. Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. Hey, Miguel, I'm a podcaster. I talk about a lot of different things. If you haven't figured it out by now, you gotta wake up, brother. You gotta wake up. I talk about all these things. I talk about the shows. I talk about the business aspect of wrestling. Where the hell have you been? You're in here every week. You act like this is your first time watching one of my streams. Come on, brother. You gotta wake up. I think this TV show puts you to sleep. Don't ask stupid questions. Come on now. Go to your super chats. All right, let's see here. Let's take a look at these. Thank you, as always, those of you who have dropped a super chat. I do appreciate it very much. As I always say, we're going to start with the early ones here. I see you. Let's start out here with Natural Reborn Thriller with the $5 coming in hot, saying Solomonster fun fact. Did you know Kyle O'Reilly's axe kick and elbow smash combo is named after Demolition, Axe, and Smash? I did know that, and I think that's a very cool homage. I love stuff like that. Like just like a little tribute. It probably goes over the heads of a lot of the current fans. We've got Giandre Kincannon with the $9.99. Wanted to show some love. Hey, Giandre, thank you, man. Vegeta Black. I was going to say Prince Vegeta. Hello, Mr. Solomonster. Was the handheld that you picked up some months ago the RB35XX? If so, you may be cruising after all. Oh, see, now you're teasing me, and it wasn't. It was the Miyu Mini Plus. So are you telling me that if I had the RB, I'd be able to play Cruisin' USA? But because I have the Miyu, I can't? Say it isn't so. You know, I have the Miyu Mini Plus, which I very much enjoy. It's a cool little device. Jerome Eugenio, when Copeland and Christian reunite, do you think Adam turns heel or Christian turns babyface? Christian will turn babyface. Yeah, Christian will turn babyface. I think is the more likely scenario. Is what I'm thinking. The Juliet. Looks like one of Sting's sons caught the wrestling bug, reports that Stephen Borden is training to become a wrestler. Yes, so both of Sting's sons had been asked previously whether or not they had interest in becoming wrestlers, and they both said no. And apparently, Stephen has been bitten, according to Darby Allin, he has been bitten by the wrestling bug. He is the one who was Wolfpack Sting. He was the more athletic of the two at Revolution. You know what was funny about that? Sting never wore that outfit. You know, he came out there dressed up as Wolfpack Sting, like in all red. I don't actually recall Sting ever wearing all red. He had the red face paint. But I don't actually think he ever wore that gear. KD said, I said it to you before months ago. AEW never mentioned why Ms. Storm turned crazy. Why? Wasn't it because she lost her title? I thought it had something to do with that. Double S. How would you handle Swerve when MJF returns? Put them in a program, keep them apart. Just wanted your thoughts. Love the channel. Thank you, Double S. I would not put them together right away, and I don't think they will. I still think that we'll probably just have MJF going back after the Undisputed Kingdom, so they're going to be kept separate regardless. I know they teased that match, you know, in a segment before MJF lost the title. But I just don't see how that would benefit Swerve right now. So if MJF were by chance to come back in the next few months, I would keep them apart. I don't see them doing it any differently. Bender McSimpson loved the Swerve Christian mini parking lot brawl. Yeah, that was my favorite segment on the show. I said it was my favorite segment up to that point in the show, but looking back on it, I think that was my favorite segment of the night. Bender says Jericho should keep the FTW title. I like the gimmick, and Hook won't be able to use the FTW as a crutch. The only thing I can imagine is that there were reports about, Hook's contract being up later this year. I don't know if it's the end of the year or exactly when it would be. If that's the case, and if Tony Khan thinks that Hook may be leaving, possibly, he may not want to put the belt back on. I maintain that I think Hook would benefit from a run in NXT. I think Hook should end up in NXT. Dark Effect. Bullet Club Gold is way better than the Bang Bang Gang. It is truly a terrible name. It's a fucking awful name. It's a fucking terrible name. And if there was a reason legally why they could no longer use Bullet Club Gold, which again, I don't understand because they have a working agreement with New Japan, so it's not. I can't imagine it's a New Japan issue. They can just come up with another name. I mean, once they split away from the Acclaimed, this Bang Bang Gang nonsense that they were doing, like this should have gone to the wayside. It's ridiculous. Dorian Moore. Did you check out the Ultra Pro Wrestling game yet? It's a cross between No Mercy, Fire Pro, and NWO versus WCW Revenge. They have Axe and Smash and more. I have not. Sounds interesting though. But I do not. Fallen Footwear says, found these Dior Air Jordans at GW today, size 10.5, Young Bucks relevancy. It sounds like some kind of code that you're trying to communicate. I'm not sure what you're saying. You found them? Were they in a dumpster behind a Foot Locker? I don't know. You found them. I assume you bought them. Aren't those expensive? Chris Mikesell with the 1999. Hey, Chris, thank you. Long live Owen Hart. One of my first favorite wrestlers I connected with. A great human who was taken too soon. Imagine Owen versus Kurt Angle or with Benoit, Jericho. His personality now will get over. All the ribs, I have heard. Rest in peace. Yeah, tomorrow, the 23rd, is the anniversary of his death. I remember that because it was May 23rd, 99, and then May 24th was Raw is Owen. So, hard to believe it's been that long. Hard to believe he was only 34 when he passed away. KD, during the tag match at the beginning, OC had the ring rope as babyface, but no tag rope on the heels. Honestly, doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think we look at these things and we want them to matter, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Dark Effect, please go away, Jericho. A man who doesn't know when to hang it up, or at least take a long hiatus. I think a hiatus would do him some good. KD with the $10 says, I don't understand the logic. Swerve cut Wayne's throat, and now it's an angle, but Swerve is now a babyface. But he did cut his throat, so technically, shouldn't Nick Wayne be the babyface? Yeah, but it's like the Toni Storm thing. Why are people booing Serena Deeb when she's out there spilling her guts about a potentially near-death experience that she had? And Toni Storm is going out there saying, thank God you knocked me out so I didn't have to listen to your sob story anymore. Right? That's what a heel would say. And yet they cheer her. So I think it's we who are the heels. You can blame the fans. The fans are the ones cheering for Toni Storm. The fans are the ones who started cheering for Swerve. That's why Hangman went crazy. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Right? It's our fault. That's why it doesn't make any sense. Oz and Glorious, Solomonster's SUV rant is a full-on Seinfeld mode activation. You know I'm not wrong. There's too many fucking SUVs on the road. And like, I can understand it. If you're somebody, you've got a family, you've got kids. When I was younger, we had a station wagon. And I used to love that, by the way. It was totally unsafe, but they would let me roll around to the back of the station wagon as they drove. It was so much fun. Back then, it was the station wagon. But you have multiple kids. You have like your own little clan of kids. I get it. You want the bigger car. You want to have the TV in the back. You want to have all of the bells and whistles. Hey, I get it. But I ride around sometimes, and I'll be like in the parking lot of Walgreens or something, right? And there's SUVs galore, and there'll be like an old lady by herself, probably grandma, driving around in this gigantic Jeep, and I'm like, why? Why? What is the purpose? What are you doing? It's annoying. Barry MK with the $35 super chat. Where are we at on the likes, by the way? 400 is the goal. Where are we at? 380? We're lagging here. Barry says, any idea why they wrote Trish Stratus off TV for a few months in 2005? I don't. Was that the time maybe she broke her nose? Was it around that time? I remember she broke her nose and she was wearing that face mask. So I don't know, maybe she got hurt. I don't remember. It's also funny how she held the only women's title at the time. It's kind of sad how little the women mattered at this time. Yeah, the women were only there for eye candy. They did not take their women's division seriously. There were women in the division who took the division seriously, and they tried as hard as they could. But at that time, they were fighting a losing battle. It was not taken seriously. It was not making them any money. They didn't see it as any kind of money maker or money generating thing for them. And it was strictly just window dressing to say like, okay, we have to have a women's division. We'll have a women's division, but we'll do lingerie matches and we'll do, bra and panties matches and we'll do all this nonsense. They didn't take it seriously. The first time that I can recall women's wrestling, honestly, being taken seriously in the last 30 years in this country, like on a national level. And I'm not even talking about, Prazak's promotion, but like on a national stage, you got to give it up to TNA. It was the Knockouts. It was Gail Kim and Awesome Kong, man. They kicked off an era in that company, and even Taryn Terrell. I remember when Taryn Terrell first came in. Once I started seeing some of the matches she was having, I said, you know what? She's putting the work in. And she got pretty good as a worker. And again, working with Gail Kim. Not surprising. So they deserve a lot of credit for that because WWE and Vince McMahon, they didn't give a fuck. They didn't give a fuck. And now, of course, we know why they had certain women in that company. Let's not fool ourselves. It's disgusting. Oz and Glorious, tracked my AEW group texts. Discord dropped off engagement-wise. Most people tuned out when Dark went offline, and mid people started showing up on TV. What are your thoughts? It's been very noticeable, the overall lack of interest in the AEW product. It has gone down. Now, you can be the most ardent AEW fan there is, and you can say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just hating on AEW. It's a fact. The interest level is not there in the way that it was even a year ago. And I see, and if you're a content creator, you see it too. You're lying to yourself if you don't see it also. You see it every single week. The interest level is not what it used to be. Hey, Uffman, thank you. The Elite angle that they're doing now is an attempt to try to bring people back into the fold and maybe try to generate some new fans and some new interest in the product. It's not working so far. I don't know that it's going to work, but they had to try something, and this is what they came up with. But I've noticed it too. I felt it too, even on some of the streams. There's a certain number of people who have dropped off. because they're just not paying attention. They just don't care anymore about AEW. And you hope that Tony Khan can win those people back, but he's going to have to come up with some way to do that. And what he's doing now with the Elite angle, it's not working. It comes down to, at the end of the day, and Jim Ross said this. Jim Ross was on Busted Open Radio, and Jim Ross made the comment. It's about creating new stars. That's it. You know, more than anything else, more than any other single thing, it's about finding that next hot star. Who is that person or persons going to be? And they just have not been able to figure it out yet. They just don't have that person, you know? I love Will Ospreay. I think Will Ospreay is great. Will Ospreay is super over. Will Ospreay is not that hot star that's going to bring 200 or 300,000 people back into the product. It's just not going to happen. So who is it going to be? I don't know. But if they can do that, that would help a lot. Because then the perception of the product would start to change. Maybe MJF comes back and Kenny Omega comes back, and maybe that can build a little bit more interest in the product. I'm sure that hurts too. You know, you have a lot of people who are out hurt. Omega and Cole and MJF, and then you have Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. And again, I've been through the list of names before. That's only a small number of them. The injuries have ravaged this company, but they have enough talent to make up for it where they should be able to replace those people in the meantime and not miss a beat. But there's just something that's missing right now with the product. And if you are an AEW fan, you should be able to admit that. Like, you could love the product and still say, you know what? Yeah, the interest level seems like it's not there. Hopefully they can bring some of those people back in. But then you also have delusional people who just think that there's nothing wrong. It's total delusion on their part. Everything's cool. The product's never been better. I'm loving all the stories. I'm loving this. I'm loving that. There's nothing wrong. It's just people hating. It's delusion. It's delusion. You can't fix a problem if you don't first admit that there is one. So you're not the only one who feels it. Oz, thank you for the $2. Solomonster is yelly tonight. No, I'm only yelly when I see stupid things said, that's all. Just upgraded from the Miu Mini to an analog pocket recently. Cruising USA, Crazy Taxi, and a bigger screen. Huge upgrade. Check it out. The analog pocket. I just taught myself how to use this. You want me to learn how to use another device now? I just got done setting this one up. I may have to check that out. Base Beerus, did anybody else catch Rhea's beach bum pick? Oh my. I saw the Buddy Matthews pick. That's Buddy Matthews' way of getting his revenge on all the people who make fun of him and saying, fuck all of you. There's a little picture of Buddy Matthews with a little something something behind him on the beach. I think he's enjoying life. Kentucky Fried Chicken AEW should move Double or Nothing out of Las Vegas or Paradise, Nevada. It is technically Paradise. They will contaminate the tourist attractions. Contaminate? What are you implying there? Magician Sapphire with the $10. I barely paid attention to Dynamite tonight. I was playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 instead. Lately, Dynamite and Collision feel throwaway shows with no heat. Well, I mean, Collision on a lot of weeks feels that way. And Dynamite does too sometimes. Base Beerus, buy or sell, Sandman or the Boogeyman? I'll go Sandman. Uffman with the $15. Uffman coming in with the super chats. Sean Ross Sapp reported that Natalia's contract will soon end as she hasn't signed a new one. Could you see her actually leaving WWE, retiring, or signing somewhere else? She's going to stay with WWE. I would be shocked if it was any other outcome but her staying with WWE. Even if it was just as a trainer, helping out at the PC, being a producer. I don't see her going anywhere. No cap. AEW has driven away any and all casual fans. Only hardcore fans are left. I don't want to see Toni wrestle ever. Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to see that. Boots. How long until Gail Kim goes into the WWE Hall of Fame? I don't know. I could read you off a whole list of people who should already be in. So I have no idea what the timetable is on any of these people. I am sure she will eventually go in, though. She is certainly, for her full body of work, she is deserving as any of the other women they've put in to the Hall of Fame, frankly, in recent years. And that honestly would be more so for her work in TNA and not even in WWE necessarily. Let's see here. The likes goal was 400 likes. We are at 406. So we are going to do some Be the Booker. But before I do want to just give a quick plug here. Last night, JD and I on his channel, Tuesday Night Titans, we talked about a lot. Went 3 hours. We talked about this Cody Rhodes nonsense, the Brian Gewirtz stuff, among many other topics, including Double or Nothing. So it was a great show. If you missed it, go check it out. That's right. Have some woo-wings and enjoy last night's TNT. It is up on his channel right now. Also, this Friday, no SmackDown review because I'm going to be in Queens at the La Boom Club for House of Glory, The War Within. Streaming live on Triller TV. We got Mike Santana defending the House of Glory World title against Matt Riddle in the main event, and we got a bunch of other people on the show. Look at that, even Top Dollar. AJ Francis, the new TNA Digital Media Champion, is going to be bringing his title. He's coming to the War Within on Friday. So that's where I'll be. Instead of SmackDown, which is in Saudi on Friday, I'll be here. But you got me on Saturday for King and Queen of the Ring. As soon as that's over, I'll be here. So you don't have to worry about that. We got some more super chats coming in before we get to Be the Booker. Let's see who we got here. They're coming in hot and heavy. Hey, Base Beer says Woo Pizza is coming soon. I'll put this place over Woo. So Woo Pizza, that's going to be the next thing now. Oz and Glorious, the stories just don't have enough time to build and breathe anymore because so many Dark Level and Ring of Honor talent need screen time now. Well, I mean, a lot of them are used to put over other talent. You know, you have to have talent on the shows, though, there's a reason why they are called enhancement talent. So if they're used in that way, I have no issue with it. But it's about focusing on the right people. You know? Also says, reminder for Bliss fan, Liv Morgan is better than Alexa Bliss. I didn't say it. That was all Oz. Dark Effect with the $10. Hey, Dark, thank you. I miss station wagons. My folks had a green one, and as a kid, we called it the Dragon Wagon. I got to roll around in the back while we were driving. Sure, it was unsafe, but it was fun. See, but that's what made it fun, though. Driving down the road, I'm looking out the back window, the guy driving behind us. My father stopped short. I go rolling. I missed that station wagon. I think our station wagon was beige. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was beige. Anyway, see, I wouldn't be so pissed off if we had station wagons all around instead of these SUVs. See, I'd be happy about that. All right, let's be the Booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the Booker.
Enough about the station wagons. Let's talk about Tag Team Be the Booker because that's how we're going to kick things off here. You guys have liked the stream 400 plus times, and I thank you for that because it does help get this video into the recommendeds. That's why I ask you to like the stream so we can get more people who say, hey, what is this? And they go click, and then we bring them into the fold. All right, we have a big tent here. I'm pitching a tent. I want to bring everybody into the tent. That's what I'm trying to do. All right, we begin with the Killer Bees. B. Brian Blair and Jumpin' Jim Brunzell. Killer Bees were a team when I first became a fan. I hate bees. I really do. The Killer Bees are going to take on... Oh, my God. Oh, man. I keep forgetting that this was a thing. And I keep forgetting, by the way, the name of this team. But we have D'Lo Brown and Chaz, this fucking guy. Fuck this guy. And fuck this team. What was their name, though? What was their tag team name? The Lowdown. Was that their name? The Lowdown? Yeah. Okay. Now you know what I think of the Lowdown. All right, we begin here on the women's side with Velvet Sky. We are not off to a good start. Velvet Sky, formerly of the Beautiful People, going to go one-on-one with Rhea Bloody Ripley. And I give that a bell strictly for Rhea Ripley, who looks very different. Almost like a totally different person in this image than the way she looks now. Rhea Ripley, that's a win in my book. I think that she could carry Velvet Sky to a perfectly acceptable match. Maybe not a great match, but good enough. Rhea, I will always book Rhea on my shows here. We're trying to book a show, right? So Rhea will sell tickets. The name of the game is trying to sell tickets. And that is what Rhea will do. All right, here we go. Men's Be the Booker. Main event time. We begin with another member of the Judgment Day, Damian Priest. The World Heavyweight Champion, Damian Priest. You always want to have a World Heavyweight Champion in your main event. All right, let's see. Who will he be matching up with? Damian Priest? Going to be taking on former WWE Champion, Big E. Big E and Damian Priest. Big E may never wrestle again, but he can always wrestle here and be the Booker. Which is really all that matters, right? It's all that matters. Not the best installment of Be the Booker. We have booked far better matches than that. But I'm going to give that main event the bell. Kentucky Fried Chicken with $5 coming in, saying my feelings towards AEW has fallen off. I have no more suggestions for that company. NXT White and Gold Hip Era is also making wrestling cool. You talking about the current era of NXT? No, it's not. That's funny. See, I was agreeing with you, and then you had to throw that in there at the end where NXT White... No, why? Why? Because they have the, I forgot her name, the rapper is coming to NXT next week. Who gives a shit? Okay? NXT is making wrestling cool. NXT is making wrestling cool again? All right. You had me going there for a second. You If you want to say NXT is a good show, you're more than welcome to say that. That is a perfectly fine opinion to have. But don't sit there and tell me that NXT is making wrestling cool again and expect me to take you seriously. Come on now. Base Beerus, before there was Chad Gable, there was Charlie Haas. Yeah, and Charlie Haas had the personality of a fucking doorknob as compared to Chad Gable. So, I mean, not really much of a comparison. In-ring talent-wise, very talented. Personality-wise, I don't think so. Kentucky Fried Chicken, wrestling should be cool, not creatively mundane. Sexy Red, that's her name. Sexy Red is coming to NXT. Well, damn, I got a show I'm already doing on Tuesdays. I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to see Sexy Red. You know, I got scared when I first saw that Sexy Red was being advertised for NXT. I just assumed that meant All Red Everything. I thought Eva Marie was coming back. Juan Ocampo. Hey, Solo. Thanks for responding to my email I sent you. I went through with a heart issue. Love you guys. As Solo says, be well and stay safe. You're very welcome, Juan. I'm thinking about you, brother. Hopefully everything is okay. Everything works out okay. Go Ace. Hey, Jason, it's Mariah Super Chat. Maybe for $69. Well, we already have a $69 one. That's the Abu Sika one. That one is sacred. So it can't be that. But I do hope you enjoyed our little welcome message from Mariah at the beginning of the stream tonight. And BlissFan. Oh my God. BlissFan is celebrating 15 months of channel membership. Happy birthday to Bray Wyatt, who would have turned 37 years old today. So Bray Wyatt shares a birthday with Owen Hart's death anniversary. I did not realize that. It's kind of eerie a little bit. Yeah, it's still hard to believe he's not here anymore. Still hard to believe that he is no longer with us, but I have a feeling his brother is going to reemerge very, very soon, possibly as soon as this weekend. We shall see. Is it true that Megan Bine is signed to AEW because she should be on TV? I don't know where she's signed. You know, I mentioned my idea of having Camille debut this weekend as the bodyguard for Mercedes and help her win the TBS title. I had one person say, no, it should be Megan instead in her place. I mean, I think either way, whoever it is, that's the idea that I pitched. I think it works even with another person to have somebody in the corner of Mercedes. I think Mercedes needs that. I think she needs somebody to be with her. I just think as a heel, it's just going to work so much better that way. Again, if it's me, I put Camille in that spot. But again, as far as her status, I don't know. I don't know what her status is. Kentucky Fried Chicken, I'll take Meta-4 over the Elite any... Oh, God, the Meta-4 in NXT. Yeah. No wonder I stopped watching. Good grief. Luis with the $5. JD and Solomonster for Best Color Commentators of the Year. So what is this? Is this in the Luis Awards? Are we nominated in the Luis Awards? I accept your nomination, and I appreciate that very much. And if you want to hear us on commentary, you don't have to wait very long. We're going to be on commentary on Friday night. The Elite can't draw a dime. See, that's not true. That's not true. Because when they come out to the ring and they drop the coin, right, for Okada's entrance, right? I don't know if it's a dime or a quarter. Could be a $50. See? There you go. It was a terrible joke. Near and far, wherever you are. Remember that song? Remember that song when Titanic was all the rage and people were watching it 15,000 times? Literally had people going back to the theater multiple times to see Titanic when it first came out. Hey, Near brother, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. And I concur. Pray for peace. Yes, indeed. That is a fine message. Boney with the $5 was thinking, what if Hangman shows up and helps the Elite to get unsuspended like Jack did? Could link up with them and lead to Swerve towards All In. Yeah, I mean, look, if the Elite are going to win, there could be some kind of a swerve, no pun intended, some kind of a swerve finish. And it could be that Hangman ends up helping them and then is gifted an AEW World title match against Swerve, maybe at Forbidden Door. One thing I forgot to mention that they announced, I should have mentioned this. They announced on the show tonight that there's going to be another casino, what is it? Gauntlet match, I think is what it is. The casino gauntlet match on Dynamite next week. They just did one, by the way, at Daly's Place a few weeks ago. That's the one that Will Ospreay won to earn the right to challenge for the international title. So now they're going to do another one. And the winner of this casino gauntlet is going to get the world title match against either Swerve or Christian at Forbidden Door. And so if that's the case, Hangman would have to return either on Sunday or next Wednesday if he was going to be the one to get the spot. We don't know who's going to be in the casino match yet, so we can't really say who is likely to go on to challenge Swerve. Hangman's not a bad guess, though. But if that's the case, then we would probably see him this weekend. But yeah, that is how they are going to determine. That is how they are going to determine who gets the shot. Near says, yes, I was bullied because of that song. I don't know, it just came to me. I said it out loud. I just started singing. I started lapsing into Celine Dion. That movie, man. You don't forget that movie. It's an epic movie. And all these years, I've been thinking the same thing. Why did you let him drown? There was no reason for him to drown. You could have saved him. There was room on that little pallet. You could have saved him. Bitch. Now I'm getting all fired up again. Anyway. Oh, Eric in the chat says he's going to be in the match. Okay, so we have our first name announced. So Eric is going to be in the casino match on Dynamite next week. Well, I hope you win. I'm rooting for you. Eric says, I got bullied in the chat for liking Sexy Red. I will admit to you, I have never heard her music before, so I can't comment one way or the other on how good or bad she is. I don't know who she is. I don't care who she is. I have nothing against her, but I have absolutely no idea. So can't help you there. I don't even know what she looks like. She calls herself Sexy Red, but I don't know. I don't know what she looks like. I may have to look her up and see if indeed she lives up to her name. Her music is trash, says Uffman. Is that why Shawn Michaels is bringing her in? Because her music is trash? Lucky me. She's not getting a lot of good feedback here in this chat from the people who know her. Sexy Red is extra garbage, says Andre. Oh boy. Poppy is better than Sexy Red. Yes, if Poppy comes back, I will tune in. I will tune in to see Poppy. That's right. Give me Poppy. What happened to Poppy? You know, Triple H is running the company now. You would think Poppy would be on the main roster by now. Poppy should have been in the draft. She should have been drafted from NXT to Raw. I'm surprised that she wasn't. How did they draft Baron Corbin before Poppy? Solo likes chocolate women. Solo likes all women, man. I don't discriminate. All kinds of women. Do you like one particular type of food? No, you probably like all kinds of food. Why wouldn't you want to try different dishes? Expand your palate, right? Doesn't that make sense? Otherwise, it gets very boring. Am I going to see Deadpool and Wolverine? And have I seen X-Men 97? TK Banks. Yeah, so there was one person last night on the TNT stream who super chatted. under the name Liver Morgan. And we both just lost our shit. And now he wants me to add Liver Morgan to be the booker. How would I go about doing that? How exactly would I go about doing that? Liver Morgan. Amazing. What was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say now. These messages are going... Oh, okay. So, yes, Deadpool and Wolverine. No. And as far as X-Men 97, I would like to watch it. I asked this question in the Facebook group. Do I need to go back and watch the original cartoon from 1992? Because it went like a whole bunch of seasons. And I just never watched it. But I've heard nothing but great things about it. And everybody's been raving about this X-Men 97. And I just feel like, am I going to be left out if I didn't watch the original show? So do I have to go back and watch the original show, or should I just dive right into this this new one? Because everybody is raving about it, and I'm kind of curious to check it out. Glenn says, zoom in on her stomach, I guess, and just put that picture and be the booker. I don't know. Liver Morgan. Amazing. So I'm being told that I don't have to watch the original. Okay. I thought maybe I would have to, but... Oh, but now Tech Nation says there are some key episodes I should watch. So I don't know. I don't know what to do here. Kentucky Dried Chicken. Delete one. Spaceballs or Austin Powers? Austin Powers goes adios. Goodbye. I grew up on Spaceballs. Spaceballs is the shit. Spaceballs is awesome. So, Austin Powers is an easy delete. Uffman, thank you for the 15. Look at Uffman coming in hot. If Brie Mode were a rapper, it would be Sexy Red. Well, that is all I need to hear. I will never listen to this woman's music if that's the case. Thank you. Thank you for sparing me. Big Fat Paulie. Sexy Red looks like the coffee aliens from Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank. Why did I say Money in the Bank? Men in Black. Money in the Bank. The fuck is wrong with me? Sexy Red looks like the coffee aliens from Men in Black. Oh, man. I got too much wrestling on the brain. I got too much wrestling on the brain, man. I got to get out of this wrestling bubble. It's not good for my health. Anyway, this has been enchanting, I must say. But I must bid you adieu. The next time you see me live will be Saturday afternoon. As soon as King and Queen, we will have a new King and Queen the next time that you see me. And I will give you my thoughts and opinions on that. Of course, there's also episode 863 of the podcast coming up on Sunday. And then Sunday night is Double or Nothing. If you want my Double or Nothing predictions, you can find them on the channel. They are up right now. So be sure to go check that out. And like I said, if you missed TNT with myself and JD over on his channel from last night, 3 hours, check out all or part of it. There's plenty of content there for you. Thought it was a great episode, and I hope you do too. Nathaniel says, please play Resident Evil 4 Remake on Sound Off Gamer. It is one of the best games that I have played. I feel like it would give my machine here a Widowmaker. It would probably give my machine a heart attack, and that would be the end of it. So I don't know if that's such a good idea, but I will sleep on it. Hey, Sarah. Thank you for being with me. I will see you as well. Daddy Ugarte, what's going on, man? Thank you for being with me. Eric, Uffman, Kentucky, Nathaniel, Liver Morgan, everybody. Thank you all. Be well. Stay safe. Juan, Near, all of you guys. And I will see you back here live on Saturday for the King and Queen of the Ring recap right here on the Solomonster Sounds Off channel. Until then, take care, guys.